Any of you who follow my Twitter are more than likely aware that my university women's group has removed me from their Facebook page for questioning this article on Jezebel. I'm sure people have also started to notice a growing trend where my unsafe opinions have had me removed from a number of things lately. It's really rather Orwellian. I posted the whole discussion that led to my removal on Twitter to prove that I wasn't being rude in any way. I disagree with the notion of cultural appropriation in this context. I don't think that wearing costumes or accessories inspired by a culture, especially during instances of celebration, should be seen as offensive. And here's the insightful reply I got to that argument. This space is not a space for you to argue against people when they call you out for your racism. Because apparently you can never be wrong in calling someone a racist. I attempted to defend myself regardless, stating that disagreeing with people is not racism. You are trivializing a very serious word. They responded by banning me. The classic approach of safe spaces in response to challenging opinions. Now, to be fair to them, they did tell me that they wanted the group to be a safe space, meaning the expectation was that their views would always be repeated back at them. And I'm not kidding, they have no shame in admitting this. So granted, I probably should have just left the post alone, but I really can't help myself sometimes. I continually underestimate just how offended these individuals are capable of getting when disagreed with. After my removal, I noticed this posted in the group. Lauren Southern has been banned for white tears and racist/M apologism. Marginalized people are not obligated to educate another person on any topic. Having literally no idea what the term white tears could possibly mean, I decided to educate myself on Tumblr. White tears basically means we're mocking the white person based on white privilege. Some white people feel the world revolves around them and that people of color should lighten up. Most of the time, white tears is used to describe a situation where a white person doesn't understand why things do not go their way when a person of color in the same position will have less luck on their side. That's interesting because I have a feeling that if I were a person of color who did not believe in cultural appropriation in this specific context was offensive, I would not have been labeled a racist or kicked out of the group for having white tears. Considering just how backwards and convoluted these issues have become, who knows at this point though. Now, I don't really care for identity politics, as I have expressed before, but for the sake of showing the irony of this situation to SJWs, take note that I did get kicked out of a women's group by two biologically white males who present as male. Perhaps it's now the case that you can only achieve victim status once you've indoctrinated yourself on Tumblr. This is just the kind of profoundly hypocritical content being shared by those who call me a racist and claim they are fighting the good fight for racial equality. Pictures of women crying captioned as white tears, and articles suggesting you shouldn't read books by white men. What? I know that I'm not alone in having an experience like this, although it may seem somewhat ridiculous. This is an all too common occurrence. It is no longer safe for you to express different opinions on a university campus. You run the risk of being slandered and excluded, much like I was. Safe spaces can pop up anywhere. They can be found in university classrooms, a designated club room, a Facebook page, or even entire campuses. They are now created to keep supposedly marginalized groups safe from opinions other than their own. And I mean that. These spaces on university campuses are there to protect individuals from having their worldviews and ideas challenged, just in case facts and evidence trigger them. These spaces are hug boxes. They're echo chambers. They're the polar opposite of what a university experience should be. They're anti-intellectualism, anti-diversity of thought, and a lot of times anti-white and anti-male, as has been proudly displayed by group members. You can ask Goldsmith University's diversity officer, Bahar Mustafa, about this. She is someone who tweeted #KillAllWhiteMen and has labeled people as white trash, yet she has not been fired from her job and continues maintaining her safe spaces for marginalized students. This behavior and the integration of safe spaces is somewhat new, but is being replicated on campuses everywhere. The Bahar Mustafa situation has received a lot of media attention, but is not an isolated case. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely believe in a need for safe spaces, and luckily we have them for women seeking refuge from abusers, and I hope soon that we will have some for men. I believe in safe spaces where people can go and discuss mental health issues. I believe in safe spaces where people can talk about alcohol abuse and addiction, or places where people who are actually suffering and are in need of support can go. I support the initial idea of safe spaces on campus to be an educational area for people on diversity, race, sexual health, equality, and acceptance. However, I do not support what safe spaces have become. Places where students can flee to when they are faced with ideas that challenge their progressive narratives. Literal daycares for university students having temper tantrums or trigger tantrums. This is exactly what happened when Christina Hoff Sommers spoke on feminism at Oberlin College. Activists had to set up a safe space for those triggered by her talk, and Christina Hoff Sommers is a feminist. This is just sad. I thought the point here was to empower people. I thought it was to educate them, but instead safe spaces have created a bunch of victims who either cry and snivel at the sight of another opinion, or gather in their safe spaces where they can demonize and slander anyone who disagrees with them, while refusing to hear what that individual has to say in their own defense. If you're going to be paying tens of thousands of dollars for a degree, I suggest you don't waste your time infantilizing yourself and shielding yourself from different opinions. I genuinely believe that safe spaces have done far more harm than good. And I can say with confidence, I feel far from safe in any of them. And I think that many students feel this way as well.